Recording is live. Welcome
Woot, woot.
back. The Chris and Veronica show.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
My name is Chris and this is
Veronica.
We made it. It's a whole thing. In this
We
episode.
still haven't killed each other.
We haven't. That's true. We're still here. We're still talking about things, making life happen, sipping on beverages and saying hello. If you are seeing us on video, obviously you're on like YouTube or one of those other platforms. If you're listening to us on audio, chances are you're on Spotify or some of the others. So hello. Hi, hello, welcome.
Hola, bienvenidos.
Exactly what she said. That's the whole thing. Entrepreneurship and business, I think, is today's topic. So how do we feel about entrepreneurship? How do we feel about business? Are we friends, foes, thoughts?
We are definitely friends, but also goes back to, is that your wheel set?
Wheel set. I love wheel sets. Yes. It's like a car driving down the road.
I meant wheelhouse.
Wheelhouse.
But yes, because sometimes it's, you need a lot of things to run a business, but can you run at least the core? Yes, definitely very much a friend of, hey, let me support you.
I think about entrepreneurship and business, right? Entrepreneurship would be the side of, I have so many ideas in the world. I want to be able to make a change. I want to be able to affect change in different ways. I'm also checking the cameras to make sure that they're on, and they are. Hi, and everything's recording still. That's good. And entrepreneurship is that idea of like, these are all the things that I see that could potentially happen, and I want to be able to solve for those things. That's entrepreneurship to me. And then business is like, how do I do those things and do them appropriately? So
Interesting.
I think about it in like two different sides.
Entrepreneurship meant for me meant that you have your own small business that is in service of something else, that provides a service to someone, and basically owning your own small business. Okay.
And yeah, that to me is like being a because you can have an idea, you can be a solopreneur, you can be a business operator, right? You can be a business owner, right? You can be like all these other things on top
Or
of
all
that
the
as well.
above.
There's a lot more that goes above that too,
Yes.
right? So you think about an entrepreneur who's like, I've got this idea. I need to be able to change the world because this thing is happening. How do I solve for that to be able to fix this thing that's happening? That's where I think about entrepreneurship and having that like spark to be able to do something, to recognize that you have something within you to be able to do something, right?
Ooh, I think I have a spark. I do. I have a spark.
Right?
I am.
Yeah, so it's that like entrepreneurship side, which is why a lot of people are like, entrepreneurs have multiple businesses, right? And that's where you think about entrepreneurship and businesses and how they like kind of work hand in hand, because most of the time as a business owner, like who wants to get paid last, right?
And work the hours.
And do all the things, right? I think about people like, they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to become a business owner so I can go sit on a beach in Mexico. And I'm like, no, that is not how any of that works, right?
It's funny. Someone said, you know what? I want to start a business because I want to work less. And I laugh so hard.
Yeah.
You work a lot more. How many
Yeah.
hours a week do you think you work?
I don't know. Today's Sunday and I'm still working. So, I mean, it's fun working, but it's still like we're doing the things,
Yes,
right?
yes.
These are things that are like passionate, the things that we're talking about right now. And so for me, it isn't really work, right? And if you think about it in that sense, I'll give you the honeymoon example. When we got married, we went on our honeymoon, right? And my spouse was like, hey, could you like not be on your laptop right now at the pool? And I'm like, I'll be on my laptop until my laptop dies. And it's easier for me to do this like 2 to 4 hours a day than to come back to this a week and a half later and be like, everything has fallen apart, right? I would rather be available to the people that I'm supporting, because I think about in my businesses and the things that I do, it's about the people that are around me and making sure that they have the tools that they need to be able to succeed when they're asking for those things, and being available to them to be able to answer those types of questions, or if something goes terribly wrong, to be able to insert myself, take care of that thing, and then jump right back out because I trust them to be able to take care of the things, right? So on the business side and entrepreneurship side, like those kind of come together in that, where I'm
They
like,
have to.
my entrepreneurial spirit does not die just because I'm sitting next to a pool. If anything, it makes me think I'm in this other place right now. I should be back doing that. And I'm even more driven because I'm not in that, business right now. I want to be more involved in it because of it, right? So
Yes.
it's like that you can't really take a break from it because it's always going in your mind, at least for me.
No, I totally agree. For my relationships is at 10 o'clock, my phone goes on do not disturb. This is why I tell anyone, hey, if you need me, message me, call me. Doesn't really matter because at 10 o'clock, unless it's an emergency and you call me back again, with the default, it'll ring. If you're not in my favorites and there's only 3 people in my favorites, well, maybe I'll at you now, Chris. Um,
Oh my gosh, I'm here to the favorites. It's so exciting.
but those are my boundaries. But I agree with you. I can be somewhere and my spouse can look at me and say, we're not doing that. And I said, what do you mean? I can see your face. You're trying to figure out how to fix this.
Yeah. And there are times where I allow for intentional time with my spouse, right? And that is like actually planned into my schedule and put into my schedule, right? And that's okay. That's how that works, right? There are other relationships that work in different ways for other people, and
Yes.
those types of things work for them. For me, it's better that I have something on our joint calendar, knowing that we're going out to dinner, we're going to go see a show, we're spending
Yes.
intentional time with each other,
Yes.
whether we're on our phones texting each other while we're sitting at the table across from each other, or whether or not we're talking about things that are like heavy and serious, or
Mhm.
what the next thing is in our relationship or things like that, right? That's our time to be able to do those things.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean I'm also not going to be like on my device if we're like doing some things or if an emergency pops up or something. Like I'm still going to be that. But in general, I'm able to lay out my time in the way that I want it to be laid out, because being a business owner, being an entrepreneur means that you can do that. You're not beholden to this W-2 paycheck where they're saying you need to be here from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and in this, right? On the opposite side of that, it means that as a business owner, you're not working 9 to 5. You are working 4 a.m. until midnight and plus some to be available for people, right?
So all this to say, for those that say, hey, I would really like a successful partner, someone that owns their own business, be careful. You may get what you wish for, because being a business owner has so many other things to it. This is why they're at where they're at. And I think people forget that.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those lifestyle things where if you are looking at a partner or potential partner, somebody that you're dating, letting them know from the beginning that's what it is.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
When I got together with my spouse, they knew like this is what you signed up for. This is what it is. And there's a little bit of craziness up in my head. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. And you're gonna be just fine with that.
This
right?
is why our spouses need to start a support group, because I tell my spouse, listen, you said I do.
Yeah.
You're the one that said I do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was in our vows somewhere, right?
Yes.
That was a whole thing.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that entrepreneurship and like business and business ownership and kind of what that looks like, it is a lot of work, but it also has this huge value where you're able to provide things to others in your community.
Yes.
Whether it's your employees or giving back to nonprofit organizations and choosing the things that match what your values are and being value aligned with who you are as a person, and then being able to like build that into a culture for your organizations that you have and that you also support, right?
Ooh, let's do something. I want to say what I think Chaleur Creative has done for our community.
Sure,
And
go
then
for
you
it.
do for what Cave has done.
Okay.
I believe, and I've seen Chaleur Creative support and give a voice to the small business owners that are, what's my next step? Hey, I filled out all the paperwork. What now? I feel that you give them a roadmap. They don't necessarily have to make those pit stops. However, you lay it all out. Hey, you don't have to do this, but if you make stop 1, stop 2, your journey can be so much easier. Also, you are a great supporter of your community. All the little things. I know you've supported Cave with a lot of our events, especially our monthly Veterans Coffee and Resources. So I think that you not only provide for yourself, you provide for the community and opportunities for giving other people jobs as well. So
Oh my gosh, I'm like blushing over here
I know.
and like melting into my seat.
I
oh
just
my
feel
gosh,
like,
you're so nice.
you
Thank
know, I
you.
feel like a lot of people see us together and they don't realize the things that we do, right?
yeah.
And the impacts that you're making, because not only with me, but I see you uplifting others and just being, hey, I've done it. And it's really hard, right? I have always said, hey, let's stop the gatekeeping.
Definitely not easy. Definitely not easy. Like
It's
that is
not.
not a thing. Yeah.
This is why there is happy hour, not just at 5 o'clock.
Right. Yeah. And so just as like some background for people that may not know us. So Veronica owns and operates the community and veteran events and does a lot in that space. And then I have Schuler Creative, which is essentially my playground to be able to do fun things with as a business and
He
organization. So
does mean a playground, but go ahead.
yeah, literal like business playground. I get to create things and then I get to spin off companies and stuff from that, which is super fun. So, yeah. So for community and veteran events, I've seen you a lot in community supporting our veterans, right? And I love that. My spouse is a veteran, and so being able to give back in that space is huge. So I really appreciate the fact that you're doing that and bringing community together through that and through the other events that you're doing, like makers markets and mini mogul markets, where we're
That
bringing
one
like
was fun.
kids together. Oh my gosh, that was like the funnest thing ever. Like I talking with all the kids and like seeing where they're at in their like business and
And
entrepreneur
that one,
journey.
remember that one child where, oh, she's going to be a CEO of something.
Oh yeah, yeah. She was just all over everything. So we had this event that local credit union was sponsoring that we engaged with, and had a makers market outside of one of their branches where it was youth that were there setting up their tables, and I just remember that kind of like community impact was so great there. So I really love that about what you did there, and then you also put on. It was the car show.
Yes, cruising for a cause.
Cruising for a Cause, yeah. And that was, so what was that organization?
Unidas por Vida.
Yes. And they do wonderful work with families that have been impacted, especially for families that have been, you know this better than I do, but impacted by people who have been essentially murdered, right? Like, and
A traumatic life. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Gun violence, other things like that. Yes.
And so they come together as a community to be able to do that. And the fact that you were able to do an event for them and be able to create that like space for them to be able to raise funds, to be able to do the things that they do, right? That's a huge
Yes, we were
thing.
very excited. We raised $8,300 for them.
Yeah, so that's really cool. Those types of things. So that's why I appreciate community and veteran events, because it's community
Aw.
and veteran events. It's not
I'm
just
not
veteran
crying,
events.
you're
It's not
crying.
just community events. It's both of them, right?
Yeah.
And really engaging community
Thank
in
you.
those conversations and the things that you do. So I appreciate you for those.
Oh,
for
look
sure.
at us appreciating each other.
I know, right? Oh, love you, love you.
But I
Oh.
really wanted our audience to know, hey, this is what you do in my lens, and this is what you see me do. And I think it kind of helps people say, oh, okay, they're not just on here talking about just because.
Yeah, the nonprofit advocacy side of things, we both do things for different nonprofit organizations. And so it's great to be able to do those kinds of things in community. I was saying last year I did 365 days in Tacoma, right? And I was specifically in Tacoma, and I met north of 4,000 new people last year. And it was great to be able to do that, right? And just
That's how I met you, actually.
yeah, just to be in community, right? And so
Yes.
that kind of thing. And that's that back to like entrepreneurship and business, right? We originally met at a business networking event, and it was really fun to be in that space and engaging with people there. And it was my first time being back in public after probably 2 years or so of
Wow.
doing some other things, and then another
Well,
almost
that's right, because COVID.
and also another 4 years probably before that because of some other things, right? And
Yes.
so my first time actually being in public for a public event that's like that, even though it's kind of a private event,
Because it was meant to
that.
be.
Yeah. And that's when I decided I am going to say yes to everything. And that's what got me there. Cause like I was going to the gym pretty much every day, right? And I got together at my gym and I was like, hey, is there any way that we can just like put a small business table together and just like put business cards out or whatever? And then I realized I don't have any business cards for any businesses that I'm currently running right now. And I was like, this is crazy. Like I should get back into this, right? And really be
What are
involved
you
in
doing with
community.
your life?
Yeah, like what am I doing with my life other than just going to the gym every day? This is so stupid. And so, yeah, I got back into that and then started like getting into the startup community in Tacoma, and then engaging more in the business community and the networking community, and then getting more engaged in like politics and all those other things. So it was really like, it was a great way to be able to get back into the business community and to reignite that, you know, entrepreneurial like side of things, to see what's missing, what can be done for people, and what can I do to be able to support people that have that mindset to be able to get to the next level, right? So
Yes.
it's been really fun for the last like year or so. I'm always thinking about too, like the small businesses that are in Tacoma, right? Like what does that look like? would we want to do like a small business series? Like, I don't know. Hello, people online. We're talking to you, breaking the third or fourth wall, whatever you want to talk about. Would you be wanting us to do a small business series? If so, let us know. Put it in the
Ooh,
comments. What do you think,
yes.
Veronica?
I think people should take advantage of it, right? Because you don't know what you don't know, right? How do I feel like I was talking to Richard and I said, I feel like Richard is with Tapco, shameless plug. Um, Building credit, it's like this elusive unicorn, right? Everybody's talking about it, but there is no one that can say, oh, this is how you do it. The closest I have gotten was someone saying, oh, these are the 2 steps that you need to do. And I was like, interesting, but why this card? Why this? So definitely, I think that think about what your roadblock, what you feel your roadblock is, and let's talk about it. You might have the same question as maybe 10 other small businesses. Hey,
Yeah.
how do you fill out these forms? How do I become a government contractor?
All these things, right? And some of these we're actually going to be talking about in our next episode, shameless plug for financial literacy. So if you're listening right now, make sure you hit that next button to be able to
Yes.
listen to the next episode, which is going to be financial
If you're on
literacy.
YouTube, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. And smart money management is the next one. So looking at that, like small businesses and giving back to small businesses, or just letting people know what that ecosystem looks like, or best things that you can do to be able to engage in business, or how have people done it that are, in that successful side of things that are in this area, or like, who are they as individuals, right? Like, what does that look like? Would you prefer to just like get to know them as a person, or would you like to get to know them as a business owner? Like, let us know, because I think sometimes it's fun just to like get to know somebody rather than like talk about the thing that they do.
Yes. But also, I think getting to know someone, you kind of see why they're in that thing, right? I do a lot of consulting for people that want to start a nonprofit. And the one thing that I ask them is, have you researched to see if someone else is doing that thing that you want to do?
Hmm.
And someone will usually be like, oh, yes, but they do this and I want to do that. But it's in the same realm.
Yeah.
Have you researched it? So that's the one thing. So if you're thinking about starting a nonprofit, that is the one thing you should do. Research. Is there anyone else that's doing that? And if there is, what's going to make you stand out more than what they're doing?
Right. Or are you going to team up with them, right? That idea of collaboration. So often I feel like we want to be able to own something for ourselves rather than do something for community. And in that
Yes.
nonprofit space, I'm always thinking, and this is still on that like business side of things, right? That entrepreneurial side of things, when you're thinking, even in the nonprofit space, what can I do to be able to support community? If there's somebody else out there that's doing it and they can just pivot slightly, and you can be that person that helps them to pivot slightly, go and help them,
Yes.
collaborate with them. It doesn't need to be its own nonprofit organization. It doesn't need to be its own nonprofit entity that you are starting. Get involved in that work. Go and do it with them,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And there are other things, right? There's personality conflicts. There's other types of things that can tie into that, right?
Yes.
But in general, try going to them first. I think about, the peer mediation side of things.
Battery exhausted.
Oh, battery exhausted. Well, then never mind. Yeah, anyway.
We're cutting all this short now.
Yeah, we're now cutting short. I mean, the alarm went off anyway, so we're almost at 20 minutes. So let's just close out here
Okay.
and just make that a thing. So, nonprofit advocacy, I think it's amazing. People should be doing it. Get involved in nonprofits themselves
And collaborating.
and collaborate with other people, because that is like a big deal to be able to collaborate with folks. So collaboration is key rather than competition. Make that happen. Have that be a thing. And then, on the entrepreneurship and business success side, final thoughts.
Talk to someone. You never know. Someone might be willing to do something, and ask. They might be able to say, oh, you know what? I tried to do that. Maybe you should reach this person. You just never know. What's the worst that can happen? They say yes.
Right? Yeah. Right. Yeah. Anytime that somebody says yes, like just go for it. Right. I'm a huge like yes person. Like just do it. Right. So awesome. Appreciate it. Well, anyway, hi. This has been the Chris and Veronica Show. I'm Chris.
And I'm Veronica.
Find us at chrisandveronica.com. If you're listening on podcast stuff, chances are you're going to be listening on Spotify. If you are seeing us on video, chances are you're watching us on YouTube. And then find us on the Instagrams, the Facebooks of the world, Chris and Veronica Show. So, thanks for joining us. Have a great day.
Have a good one, everyone.
Pew, 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 pew.
Bow, bow,
Pew,
bow.
pew.